Hey everybody, Christopher Keiko here, and I'm joined with Yugimation here. And today we're going to be talking about a topic that applies very much to my art and how I got started. And yeah, so if you want to just introduce yourself.
Hey there, everybody. This is Yugimation coming at you again with Chris over here. We're doing this collaborative double duo. My name is Cody Valgello, for those that aren't familiar with some of the Facebook stuff that we post, but I am an artist and an animator over on YouTube, and I specialize in Yu-Gi-Oh! Animations and art.
Great. Yeah, I've actually... We met through Yu-Gi-Oh!, right? Through online Yu-Gi-Oh!?
Yes, we did.
And for those of you who don't know, I actually started my art career making Yu-Gi-Oh! Playmats and just being part of that community. And yeah, it's so strange to jump from that into, I don't want to say regular art, but more generic art. So regarding what you do, you want to give people a rundown about how you got started?
Oh, absolutely. So when we first started the channel over on Yugimation, I think somewhere around 4 or 5 years ago, we decided that we wanted to create something with our talents. We just recently got out of high school, and we wanted to do something with that. And so we decided that we wanted to use our art and animation skills to do something in the game that we currently played. And so we decided to create Yugimation as a way to morph that together. And so that's what we did. Some of the first animations we created was doing animated card art from cards that weren't displayed inside the shows or just fan favorites of the time.
Yeah, I remember, I think the first one I saw of yours, it was a Gaga cowboy and a quick draw.
Oh, yeah, absolutely.
So do you still play Yu-Gi-Oh? You still play?
As of right now, we've been out of the game for roughly around 2 years now. There's that time in everyone's career that they just move away from the game they play all the time.
Yeah.
And it just so happened to come around 2 years ago.
Okay. Well, you're in a good spot because the game is horrendous right now.
Oh yes, yeah. I've heard the stories.
But so how do you feel like targeting, because like when you got started on that stuff, that kind of artwork and animation was directed towards a specific audience. Do you feel like that was a good thing or a bad thing?
I think if you think about it overall, a lot of people, especially new artists, they want to try and get exposed and they want to try to get their name out there. And it might be difficult for people who are just starting out to make their original content and then display it and to get a massive amount of followers.
Yeah.
And it might be hard to do that at times. So I think, from my experience, and I know, Chris, your experience as well, that we stuck with like a community of people, and we catered to that community, and we did content for them. That way we started to become more known, more recognized, and use characters and concepts that are already established, and we built upon that.
I guess it's the same concept as using like selling at conventions and selling fan art before you start going into like original art.
Yes,
kind of the same thing.
I do believe that's the case as well. Yeah.
Yeah. So yeah, it seems like it's worked really well for a few other artists. I wasn't going to bring them up, but whatever. Nips and Amanda LaPalme, they have both been able to build massive audiences, completely starting with Yu-Gi-Oh! And but so say someone's getting started, would you recommend? Because I feel like it's a really good way to start, because I was having a hard time catching traction when I first started. Like, I started with Yu-Gi-Oh! Got a little bit more into generic art after that, but it wasn't until I did my giant Pokemon drawing did I get big into the Pokemon community, and then that's what really picked me up. So for someone who's getting started, what would you recommend for them to try and do?
That's actually a really good question. I would definitely say that there's multiple avenues that you can take, but it probably might be a good idea to perhaps even do both at the same time. It's like you can cater to a community and also work on your own personal stuff. And the people that you do work for the community with, they can check out your original content and they can say, oh, wow, you can do both this community work and your own stuff. And then people will gradually gain an interest in your own work and perhaps later down the line you can abandon the community or not abandon the community, but start to slow. Yeah, don't abandon all your fans. We don't want to do. Oh boy, this is going downhill.
No. They know what you're saying. Come on.
Yes. There we go. But yeah, it's to kind of cater more towards the community, and then also focus on yourself, and then gradually bring people. There we go. That's the term I wanted.
There you go. Like carry them over. There you go.
There we go.
Yeah.
To carry them to your original artwork and your original content.
Right. And definitely the thing you said about not abandoning them. There were a lot of people who I worked with primarily for like Yu-Gi-Oh and Magic back in the day, who are still fans of me. So just have to keep in mind that those people are always going to be important, even if you move away from that genre.
Absolutely.
Yeah. So lost my spot here.
That's okay. That's what being an artist is all about: losing your spot, finding it, and then keep going.
Oh my god! Yeah, that keep going part though, right? Yeah. So did you go to art school though? Like you're doing primarily animation, right?
Right. That's correct. More leaning towards animation, but dabbling in some kind of illustration, some other forms of art. But the primary thing was animation.
Okay.
And so for going to school with that, we did go to college to get more familiarized inside that career. It wasn't more of like a dedicated art school. It was more just of a community college that had a more advanced animation and art programs that really benefited myself when we were doing all these kind of projects and trying to familiarize ourselves with the industry.
Okay. Do you feel like the school helped progress you quicker than if you did it by yourself?
I definitely do think that who are already familiarized with a lot of the concepts that you would already learn in school, it's like, oh, well, I didn't really need to go to school after the fact. It's like, I already knew a lot of the stuff they already taught me. I think it's more so for getting connections with people and having that experience of being in a classroom setting and being with groups of people and understanding how the industry works, maybe from your instructors, from guest speakers, even from perhaps as well. So I really think that the college experience helped more so with establishing connections more than actual art.
Right. Yeah. People always ask me if I have gone to art school or if I would recommend it. Of course, I didn't go, so I can't like firsthand say yes or no. But I do believe, other than the cost, one thing that is completely irreplaceable is a good instructor. Like almost, back in the day, they would have a master and then an apprentice. I feel like that's something
Absolutely.
that is completely you can't substitute that if you try and learn by yourself. But yeah. So, do you have any new projects coming up?
New projects for myself. Ever since we kind of slowed down with Yu-Gi-Oh! A number of years ago, we have been doing a lot more with our own career, either with other studios that we met while we were attending college, or just more personal stuff for ourselves. So as of personal stuff for ourselves, there's been a few things, but the majority of it so far has been commissions, studio projects with instructors that we used to attend college with, and just more downtime, I guess. That would be the biggest thing.
So how many people do you usually work with?
So far... Oh, what were you going to say?
Oh, no, I was just going to say when you're doing a project, because I know you were doing a series for the dual terminal, the Yu-Gi-Oh! Dual terminal animation series. Yes. Like, around how many people for that did you have on, I guess, your team?
For that specific project, that was one of the more ambitious projects that we did during our time with Yu-Gi-Oh! And there was a number of people. For everyone listening, Chris was actually one of the people that we had help with our series. He did phenomenally, and we wouldn't have been able to speed up the process without Chris's help. So that was definitely one person. And a number of voice actors and people to use for characters and their just overall dialogue. So a lot of voice actors, but as for the number of people that actually worked with the art side, it was only myself, my brother, and Chris that
Wow.
worked on that.
Wow. Yeah, I don't know how you animators like I don't know how you animators do it. I got a hold of Flash a few years ago, and I spent a few days, like 2 or 3 days, learning and just doing this frame by frame Pokemon drawing that or a Pokemon animation. It came out to like 20 seconds long, and I was so proud of it back then. But I was like, I'm never doing this again. So
There's definitely a patience for every specific kind of art. If you're doing animation, you have to have patience for that. If you're doing like concept art, you have to have your own specific patience for that. So I think it's just what people might be accustomed to. If they're more accustomed to art, they might say, you know what, I might not want to dabble in animation because I know what I'm good at, and it's concept art, backgrounds, maybe even storytelling as well. So I think that might be one thing that people might decide when they're choosing an avenue of art.
I just know I have just this huge appreciation for animation. Like it is, like to me, it's just it's so tedious that I have just the greatest appreciation for it. And if for people watching who don't really understand animation, you should try and make one yourself, because I know we have a lot of artists. A lot of artists listening. Just try to make like a 30-second video and see how long that takes you.
If you love drawing the same thing over and over again for months on end, animation's for you.
Kind of the same thing over and over.
There we go. Kind of the same.
So, all right. So, where can they find you? Where can they find your work? Are you on Instagram? You have your YouTube channel?
There's a various number of places that we're on right now. One of the biggest things right now is the Yugimation channel on YouTube that houses the entire collection of random shorts of animation from the earliest days of Yugimation all the way till now. Facebook, under the Yugimation Facebook page, that's where you can also find us. And more recently, there's been like another development of content that we've been doing since we've stepped away from Yu-Gi-Oh for a while, and it's for the PlayStation and PC game known as Paragon, developed by Epic Games. If anyone has heard of that before, we do a lot of fan art for that as of right now, because the game is starting to come out of beta. And so if people would want to check out some of the more recent stuff that we've been doing outside of Yu-Gi-Oh, they can go to Twitter and look up someone called Sneaky Paragon.
Sneaky Paragon. See, I didn't even know you guys were working on that.
Oh, see, look at that. Another topic for discussion. Let's dive right into that one,
too. No, if you want to talk about that, I mean, we're on no time limit. If you want to talk about that,
let's talk about it. Let's talk about that for a little bit, and then we could move it on over to what Chris is doing, so we can keep it as a fair. And so yeah, that's some of the more current stuff that we're doing outside of Yu-Gi-Oh. I know with Yu-Gi-Oh right now, we haven't done much since the last episode of Dual Terminal, but ever since we stepped away from that, we've been playing a game called Paragon, like recently mentioned, and it's a MOBA game that's in a third person, and it's developed by Epic Games, the same people who made Gears of War. If I'm pretty sure a lot of people are familiar with Gears of War, and so that's a game that we recently started playing right now, and we enjoyed it so much that we were kind of in a slump for some art, so we decided to do some concept art and some fan art for that game, because we just enjoyed the character design so much, and we started pumping out more and more stuff for that, and we even got recognized by the game company themselves, and they flew me and my brother out to North Carolina to their headquarters.
Wow.
To go and do a live stream event for their game.
That's fantastic. See, I had no idea that was going on with you. That's freaking great.
We learn something new every day.
Sometimes. But yeah. Wow.
So that was just one of the things that we've been doing.
No, I'm so glad to hear that it's working out for you. Like I said, I had no idea that was going on for you guys. So congratulations on that.
Oh, thank you very much, Chris.
But yeah, so I'll put all the links to everything that you mentioned in the description, and then I'll pin it to the top of the comments. Do you have any other piece of advice, like if somebody's just trying to get into art and they're maybe having a hard time, if you had something to say to them, what other than being persistent and not getting discouraged?
Right. that, those are definitely a lot of things that people would want to look for when they're starting art. They see so many artists around them at various levels. Some could be less skilled than they are, and then some could be so extraordinary skilled that they don't know how they're going to
how am I ever going to get that?
Exactly,
Yeah.
that same thought. And the advice that I can give is so cliche, but it works, and it's cliche for a reason. It's because it really does work, and it's keep practicing, and when you think you've done enough practice, continue practicing.
Yeah, that's pretty much the answer to everything, isn't it?
Absolutely.
But hey, I really appreciate you taking the time out to do this, man. This is going to help a lot of people just hearing about how you got started. It really is.
Oh, I do hope so. Anyone that could learn from any kind of experiences, either they be through Chris's artwork, through my artwork, or any other kind of artist that they look up to, that's the thing that's going to keep them going, because we're the next step. Me, you, and all the other artists that might be listening. We're the next level of artists that'll be coming in the future. So we need to encourage one another to continue doing that, because who's going to be making the entertainment later on down the line? Everyone that's here now with us. So hopefully they could find the interest and the passion to continue doing that, because we need all of you.
That's a great way to look at it. And I'm not going to mess up this outro like I just did. But hey, all right. So everyone, go check out all his stuff. Like I said, I'll put all the links to it in the description down below. Thank you, Cody. Thank you, everybody,
Chris, for having me.
Thank you, everybody, for watching. And we will talk to you next time.
Have a good one, guys.